toss-up between the lasagna della mamma, the pollo principessa,
the Italian's good, isn't it?
or the risotto. Can't seem to decide.
I'll decide before you then.
I'm having the risotto.
Oh, how's it going, alright? This is the What's Occurring podcast with Cal and Chuck. So if you like jams on the ash, making an omelette, or a cheeky finger, then crack on. If not, back off. Tidy.
Go, fella.
Series 2.
Series 2.
Cheers to that.
How have you been?
Good, man. It's been ages. Like we've been away for the summer, and we've both had loads going on. I think.
And we're now student radio nominated.
Sorry, can we just talk about that?
Just another cheers to that.
I know,
I think
definitely.
quite a large gulp to that, actually.
Yeah. Can we just say the waitress? She was like, "Is this red wine just for display?"
Is it for display?
We were like, "We bloody definitely."
We
not.
think not.
Yeah, it's really nice
Another
red
cheers to
wine.
that.
Yeah, God, we're such lads. Seriously,
Anyway.
though, student radio nomination.
Yeah, we are now nationally accredited, shall we
you could
say.
Like, the Student Radio Awards, they're a national
Which
radio
seems bizarre.
awards,
We just
top
get
6.
pissed and talk about our favourite TV programme.
Yeah, it's nuts. Yeah.
There we go. Let's talk about the new format to the series. Same old gags, same old crap.
Yeah.
But as you can see, well, I was thinking about this earlier. If you're listening to this podcast, if you're still on Apple Podcasts, still on Spotify,
The old faithful.
this
as
means
they call
nothing to them. But if you are listening, you can now watch us on YouTube.
Yeah.
This podcast is now available on YouTube. So we've got 71 days to go
it. 71 days.
until Christmas.
Yeah.
In better news to the Christmas special, Ruth Jones was chatting about it last night.
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
Wales for such a long time filming Gavin and Stacey. How finished is that? Is it ready to go?
It's all done and dusted, kippers and custard. It's it's in the can, as they say, whatever the can is. It was really good fun. It was a very smooth shoot. It was gorgeous to see everybody get together again, and to be back in Barry, where we had the best welcome ever. I mean, it was insane. Yeah, it was insane. But it was quite handy because I just went out in character and just sort of talked to everybody like Nessa, which was great because I could just be rude and go, "Oh, love, what are you doing here? Back off." And I loved that. So you can just hide behind rudeness.
71 days to go, Cal, to the Christmas special. You just heard Ruth Jones. She's very excited. What are your thoughts?
Having a breadstick.
You getting? You know what? I'll join you on that. Are you getting nervous?
If I'm honest, I don't think there's actually been, like, we're all really excited for it, but I think the Gavin and Stacey Old Faithful purposefully haven't put that much of a overhype on it, in a sense that they're not coming out with loads of different
Well, we've
storylines and
contacted
things.
a lot of them.
Yeah.
They're all saying pretty stum. I think that's the first bit they got out of Ruth
Yeah.
Jones. Here's a starter.
White bait after me.
Look at that.
Thank you very much.
Good, Minnesota
Oh,
soup.
that looks amazing.
Delicious.
There we are.
Thank you very much.
Thank
You
you.
like any tartar sauce?
Oh, yes,
Any
please.
Parmesan cheese?
Parmesan. Lovely, lovely. Lovely, lovely.
Jubbly, jubbly.
Lovely jubbly.
Bit of white bait. No, I think they've done that on purpose. Just so that people don't get disappointed if something is bad, but I don't think it will be bad.
Yeah, and I think, like, when they announced it, James Corden even said to himself, they just wouldn't, I don't think they would have gone near it again. But the best thing about it is, since we last spoke, how incredible it is they've got the 3 series now on iPlayer, and so many people are now, loads of my friends are messaging me now, obviously talk about the podcast the whole time, they're actually watching the series now.
I actually had a friend who started watching Gavin and Stacey because we started the podcast. So we're not only, sort of talking to the super fans, we're also encouraging people to actually get out there.
Trailblazers,
Yeah,
Cal.
exactly.
Trailblazers. It's alright, BBC, don't worry. We don't expect commission. Anyway, let's talk about Series 2, Episode 1. And as we do, as always, as we did in the first series, have a drink correlating to the episode. And of course, Episode 2, Series 2, Episode 1 sees Pete and Dawn absolutely off their... Well, Pete in particular off his face in Capriccio's with Seth. So we thought we'd also get off our face with a bottle of red.
Cheers,
So there we go. Cheers.
It's really nice.
We've already
red.
drunk a lot of this.
Really
There's
nice red.
not much of the bottle left, but there we go.
I have to say they've got a great house wine here at Capriccio's.
And we're going to start a game now.
Yeah.
So we're here for the next half hour or so. Throughout that time, Callum,
Yeah.
referencing the episode as well,
Already failed.
No, come on, we haven't started yet. So we're going to play a drinking game. I'm Robert Mugabe from now on.
Yeah.
Callum is Dame Judi Dench, referencing Nessa and Bryn's handle on the airwaves in Series 2, Episode 1.
So where do we draw the line
So
with this?
I'm Mugabe, you're Judi Dench, alright?
But can I call you Robert? Can you call me Judy?
Yeah, of course. But 2 fingers of the drink otherwise, okay?
Okay.
Is that fair enough?
Cool.
Do we head straight into it, Robert? You're Dame Judy.
Oh no, he's already failed. Right.
Let's head straight into it.
Yeah,
anyway.
let's get into this episode. I'm just me eating my white bait. But so this is the first episode back after the wedding. Obviously, Series 1 ends with the wedding. We go off into the sunset, so you should say.
So we have a bit of a...
Yeah.
We do find out a few things that happen at the wedding that we didn't know. There's Smithy in the lift with a couple of his mates.
Absolute gold dust.
And there's also the Uncle John, is it, in the cake? He's actually tight.
Yeah,
It's not very funny, he's diabetic. So we hear a little bit what happened after the cameras, so to speak, turned off. Which was pretty hilarious. And then obviously they go off on their honeymoon. And then we see them again returned at an airport, which, by the way, fun fact, is actually we learnt this because we filmed a little video promo. It's actually a shopping mall.
Yeah.
There we go.
When we were filming that promo, we were sort of umming and ahhing about whether to go to. You came into Gatwick, didn't you? It was Gatwick you went to. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were umming and ahhing whether to go to Gatwick.
For some reason, it's pretty questionable filming in an airport.
That was the thing, and then because of that, I was being really shifty because I just felt really
Yeah,
bad.
I had to keep on telling you stuff.
And he kept saying to me, he was like, "Rob, just stop acting like you're doing something bad." And I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it because I was stood there with a massive sign welcoming home up, but I just felt so awkward.
You made us look like the T word.
It was all the Thomas Cook messages being rescued.
Yeah, it was pretty embarrassing. And we did look like a pair of lovers, didn't we?
We did.
So then they come back, and as you said, we were discussing this episode
Yeah.
just before we came here. It's classic Mother Pam, isn't it? When they come, and I was saying about the camera work is sensational.
Yeah.
The way it's one of my favourite Pam sequences when they're she starts telling the story. Gav and Mick raise their eyebrows. It's like, oh, here comes the classic Greek story.
Yeah.
Heard this one before. The wine gums under the bed sheet, and then I just love the way it shifts, and then it shifts to them in the car. It's like, I grabbed that Stelios Cagliano fella by the throat. It's genius again. Genius camera, right?
I think that
I just want to say, if you are listening to the podcast for the first time or still, we do arse lick the programme. There we go.
We're quite honest about it as well, as we'll get into.
Yeah.
There's a particular part of this episode that I really fucking dislike, and Chuck really likes it. So it's kind of contentious that how I dislike it, but anyway.
So moving on, Bryn, classic Bryn, adding to the Uncle Bryn theory, which I mentioned in Series 1, Episode 1.
That got a lot of ground.
That did get a little ground on Twitter.
Yeah.
So this is, of course, the theory that I think Uncle Bryn. Obviously, it's not exposed that he is gay. There's the whole complication around the fishing trip. But I think we should do a compilation of this. Just grab all the little snippets of Uncle Bryn. Every single time he enters that house, Gwen's house, it's through the back door, which is referencing him being gay, going through the back door.
The
And again,
definitely do know this theory.
of course, and again we have. Oh, it's clever writing. That's my opinion. I love to ask them about it. Maybe one day when this podcast takes off.
Yeah.
But he makes the comment every time. It's always with Gav. He's like, "Are you bronze?"
Oh, yeah.
So
I cannot
wait to see it. And it's classic Bryn at his finest.
I think as well with Bryn, he's one of these characters that you expect it, but even when he does it, you'll still find it hilarious because you know that he's going to come out with some sort of gay innuendo, but it's still hilarious every time he does it. That's what I love about it.
And classic Gav and Stacey, they never ever reveal whether he's gay or not.
Yeah.
Like the fishing trip, like with Nessa's fantasy, not fantasies, her experiences. You never actually know, apart from in the final episode when John Prescott turns up at the wedding, which is hilarious. Anyway, another classic moment in this is Pam's maiden name when she, we were literally watching the episode before we came here, and it was when she says she felt like she lost her identity, like Anne Frank when she was found.
Yeah, sorry, what a stupid reference. And that's another great thing about the writers. They know exactly what they're getting at.
But my mum's the same. She makes those sort of silly references to history that she doesn't really know about.
So another reference in this episode.
I've got the soup sweats, by the way.
I've never heard that before. Soup sweats.
Oh, it's a thing. I'm telling
Yeah.
you.
So another reference in this episode is Mick when he's like, flapping around like an elephant's trunk, and you can just feel the cringe from Gav because he's so not surprised at the same time, isn't he?
We've of course got the return of Smithy, and he's not too happy, is he?
Oh.
But something I noticed literally just as we watched it, and I said this to you. So this is a bit nerdy and a bit like geeky, looking into it a bit too much, but he says he missed Gavin, and he was ringing him every day for 3 weeks, and then Gavin says, oh, you're only checking the West Ham scores, and I said to you, actually he wouldn't call him every day to check the West Ham scores because West Ham wouldn't play every day. So but regardless, I love the scene, and of course the Capriccios, of course I'm coming, and
it's
the whole
it's a moment of friendship,
and I love it when Smithy says Stacey goes to Gavin, give him the gift, and then Gavin goes, what now? And then Stacey and Smithy say at the same time, yes. Right? Yes, I'm having it's great. It's again classic Corden and Jones, just the tiny little bits. Intricacies that you only really notice once you've watched it over and over again. And then we're off to Capriccio's, and here we are in Capriccio's in celebration. And of course you then see Pete and Dawn caught out with Seth, which we'll go into a bit more detail in a bit, but you can't imagine that sort of sinking feeling when they know Seth's in the toilet, and they know that outcome. But it's a bit sloppy from Pete and Dawn, isn't it? If you're going to go and chat to a potential threesome, you're not going to go to your local Italian restaurant, are you?
Exactly what I thought.
Yeah, knowing
exactly
that,
what I thought.
especially because they're such good friends, they probably knew that Gavin and Stacey were coming back from the honeymoon, maybe knew that all the Welsh lot were coming over to Essex, knowing that they might go out for a meal. That could be a possibility.
Well, look,
they go to the local Italian.
Time for the news to travel about Mick being on TV. I'm sure the news travelled.
Things get round in Billericay and Barry.
100%,
for sure. And then obviously we have the whole ordering fiasco. They sit down and
at the start, didn't you?
I did have a bit of that at the start. Bit of a toss up. I've gone for the veal. I actually changed my mind. There we go. I've gone for the veal, but it is in this very restaurant. I can't tell you the amount of times I came here when I was younger, and we used to just come here. My cousin's a big Gavin and Stacey fans as well. We used to just come into this restaurant. It was called fucking Capriccio, and we used to come in here and we used to just go through the whole repertoire, slamming the recipe. I'm having the gnocchi, and I've gone for the gnocchi, and then that's a biggie and stuff like just all of them. The whole it is just like it's just a group of people who love each other coming together, sitting down, eating a meal, and it's classic Gavin and Stacey. Just not a lot happening until obviously the fiasco in the toilet. I keep saying fiasco, I don't know why.
It was a fiasco.
It was a fiasco.
Right, I'm going to get into my discretion.
No, I just want to say though that is just very much the quintessential Gavin and Stacey scene where I think the red wine's hitting me here, Cal. I've said Cal again. There we go.
I haven't said
sorry, Judy Dench.
Robert.
Typical scene where not a lot is happening, yet it's just so funny and
but isn't that
just hysterical.
To like small town village life?
I like him, the useless sack of shit.
Yeah, you can go for a family meal. I'm sure you guys have had this. You can go for a family meal and nothing's really happening, but something is always a conversation. I know whenever I get together with my family, there's always just an overwhelming noise of just 6 different conversations going on at once, but somehow they're all in harmony, and it's just nothing going on.
And I'm a big fan of Smithy in this scene. The way he resents Gavin so much, and he's like, increase this, increase that. Is that going to be it now? And it's just like I can imagine. I've got a mate who's like that with our other friend who's in a serious relationship, and he's literally exactly the same. He can't cope when he does nice stuff with his girlfriend because it just like breaks his heart a bit, and it's the same with Gavin.
That's really cool. Our
main course is here. That is for me. Oh wow. Oh my god.
That looks amazing. Oh, don't worry, thank you.
Oh my Christ.
Wow, look at that. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. That's lovely.
You like any cheese?
Yes, please.
Oh my god.
Do I want cheese? Of course I want cheese.
I can't put in there.
Oh, he's better than Pepper. Chuck, I have a real big problem with the toilet scene, and I do not know why. I think it boils down to what I'm like with TV programmes. I find stressful things really irritating to watch, and this is the one scene in Gavin and Stacey that I really have never enjoyed that much. So I'm going to tell you why. Purely because they're all leaving their food, and it's stressing me out. The numbers decreasing at the table. That is the one thing.
But that is
really
the beauty of it. I think that Corden and Jones, they've sat down and they've gone, how can we get the whole of that table into the women's toilet without any of them really realising?
Without knowing the stories.
So Bryn and Smithy are at the end of the table. They're just by themselves, and it just all makes sense to them. They don't really care, and it's the whole two stories colliding, like Seth and.
What were you saying about that? How you,
the Nessa pregnancy.
Love the fact that all the stories are just coming together. And
Yeah.
A real clusterfuck.
And then at the end, when they're all, and then whoever joins the last person, they join in with telling the next person what's happened. So it's like, and Smithy's the father. At the end, Mick also says that's why he's just come in. He's like, shit, a brick. And I just love it. I think it's great, and it's dramatic as well.
It sets up.
And I think that's what the second series needed. It needed that big development, and the next episode you see, which we'll talk about next week, you see Stacey beginning to be homesick. Kind of see glimmers of that in this episode. Her mentioning the name, and then also just her being at the Shipmans for the first time, living there, and then obviously the kid as well, which is such a big part of the second series. And I think that ending was really necessary and sets it up really well, and is again just genius writing, really.
We alluded to this earlier when we were talking about Pete and Dawn meeting up for the threesome, and it inspired this week's email segment, the first email segment of series 2.
Have you ever been caught in an uncompromising scenario? So have you ever been caught out have you ever been caught somewhere where you shouldn't have been, at the wrong place at the wrong time? So I want to kick this off, right?
Go on. Is this one of your personal stories?
This is a personal story of mine.
Okay.
So during my time at sixth form, this is probably 4 or 5 years ago now, I had this English teacher, and she was in charge of education at the school, which basically meant that she had to appoint staff, and because she was an English teacher as well, it just made sense for her to always have any potential English teacher come through our classes, and because we were her oldest class and stuff, made sense. So we're kind of used to having different teachers, potential teachers, teach the odd lesson here and there. And she said, on Monday this is happening again, and we're like, okay, whatever. So we head into school, and I turn up to the lesson a few minutes late, and I walk into this classroom, and straight away the teacher's at the front, and he turns to look at me as you do walking through the door, and just freezes and looks at me, and then I look at him. And we both had this oh my god, shit, I know you kind of situation. And it turned out, it reconvened that basically he was my old English teacher, and what happened at my previous school was that he had gone off with a physics teacher, another one of the teachers, and it had all kind of come to a head at the school, and it kicked off in front of some older kids as well. So he got the can. And then I walk into this, he's thinking, here we go, fresh start, another decent school. Buzzing to have the interview, and then sees me walk in, and his face just drops, and he continued doing the lesson, but the teacher who appointed the staff had seen my reaction and kind of worked out that something wasn't all there.
Oh no.
And then she asked me about it, and I was kind of I don't know, do I say? And then I just asked her, I was like, what did he say that he did after he left the older school? Because it had only been a year or so. And she basically said he was on a sabbatical. And I was like, yeah, I had convenient sabbatical. Needless to say, he didn't get the job. Oh my god, that was just...
Thank you.
I used to have that when I was younger. The best.
Thank you.
The dream. Thank you.
Bella. Is that Italian? I don't even know.
Alright, are you should come in here on
I'm
the
getting chat from the locals.
For the record, that's actually my mother behind the camera there, who's turned up. There we go.
Hi, Gabby.
We were going to lie and say to the camera that our car was coming to pick us up, but it's actually my mum.
Yeah.
There we go.
We haven't made it that big yet.
So we've also got another story from David. He's emailed us in, what'soccurringpod@gmail.com, if you have any stories for future podcasts. He says he had just gone to see the FA Cup final, and he was with his sister, and he'd gone round to another friend's house, and his sister was also there with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend turned up, and they decided to leave early. So
What, from the FA Cup final?
no, from the house after. So they've been to the FA Cup final.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what relevance that has to the story. Anyway,
Yeah,
they've been
just that, you threw it off.
They've been to David, sort it out. So they've been to the FA Cup final.
Yeah.
Again, not relevant.
Not relevant,
But
you
and then
keep
they've
saying
gone and
it,
celebrated at their family friends. I'm just gonna take a drink before I get in. They've been at their family friend's house, and then his sister's peeled away with her boyfriend, saying, "Oh, they're just gonna go back to the house early."
yeah. Oh,
Whatever.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I see where
So
this is
then
going.
he drives in the driveway and opens up the front door, goes into the living room, and lo and behold, his sister and boyfriend are fumbling around, butt naked, trying to dive off the bed. Says he's never, says here, he's never ever sat on that sofa ever again.
Wait. Sorry. So, alright.
So he's walked into the living room. What I'm guessing from this, he's just said he's seen them fumbling around. So he's walked into the living room, they're arse naked on the sofa, basically. I don't think they're going at it. I assume they had the period of the door opening, and the front door opening, and then they probably were going at it on the
Can I
sofa.
just say, I don't know why did that sound affect my hands.
There we go. For those of you who have listened to the podcast, we do a character analysis each episode, and this week we have chosen the one and only beautiful lady.
Oh, she is beautiful.
Nessa.
Yeah, we just had an old man come in and say to Chuck, that you want to get in bed with her. Is that what he said to you?
That this restaurant is indeed an opening. And,
Yeah. Fair enough. But yeah, Vanessa, she's a brilliant character, isn't she?
Vanessa Jenkins.
Yeah.
One thing I realised, we never actually find out her age.
No.
We never really do it, but how old do you think she is?
I'm going to go late 20s, 28, 29, I think.
So I've done a bit of detective work. This is why you're completely wrong.
I'm completely wrong. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
So,
Nice little latte.
she is mentioned in the programme that
Yeah.
she worked as a driver for Gladys Knight and the Pips in 1979.
Well,
which
that's
suggests
obviously a
that
lie.
it's in 1979. No, but it's not a lie though, because you have... The reason why none of her elaborate stories are a lie is because you always have Bryn and Gwen backing them up and saying, "Oh yeah, Eddie stole bus."
Fair enough.
So that suggests that she must be well into her 40s at the start of the series, even.
Fucking hell.
That means she'd be.
Well, sure, she's knocking on the door of menopause then.
Yeah, Nessa's
Surprise she get have a baby. Anyway, I mean, yeah, we've got a list of her.
Yeah.
Jobs.
Wanted to list off all her jobs, all of her weird and wonderful things. So, let's kick it off.
Yeah.
She speaks fluent Italian and Welsh.
She is one of the original members of All Saints, but didn't get along with Shazney.
She's a truck driver for Eddie Stobart.
Yep, nanny for Richard and Judy.
She was a BBC radio producer.
Navy officer.
A driver for the Who World Tour.
Street performer.
A bartender at the Dolphin Pub in Barry.
A semi-pro 10-pin bowler.
An aide to John Prescott.
Married a man who died faking his own death.
Woke up after her first marriage with an unspecified pic of Gladys Knight fame in Alaska.
Right. She travelled the world on a cruise ship. Don't know what doing.
Former goalkeeping coach to Stephen Krusevich.
Seasonal Santa Claus down in Barry.
She's worked in Peru, Namibia, and Egypt.
But finally, of course, her current occupation. She works the slots. She runs the amusements in Barry.
After all of that.
Yeah, I know.
After that CV.
Great CV.
Alice, I don't think there is another British character like her.
No.
I think she's such a unique character. She's clever, she's witty, she's a bit of a slag.
No, she is, yeah. And I think that's what Ruth Jones brings to it.
Yeah. And I think she's deliberately like that.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
And I love all the references to her incredible career, driving the sets with the Who, Eddie Stover.
Yeah.
Had some sort of relationship with Dodi Al-Fayed.
Yeah. I mean, of all the people you could pick, one of the most contentious love affairs in the British history.
Without further ado, though, shall we head into Nessa's Tom? And I actually went through these, and it's pretty impossible.
No, it is so
to
impossible.
come up with them, but
The fans thought as well it was very impossible.
At What's a Cone Pod for future, if you want to vote on the best moments of future.
Yeah.
I think I'm a bit pissed. To be honest.
Are you?
Trying to talk.
Yeah. The fruit hasn't sorted you out, has it? But yeah, so we put onto our Twitter page at What's a Cone Pod the 3 top moments, and those 3 top moments we said for you to choose from.
I actually don't know how it ended up. It was a 3-way tie this week, wasn't it?
Nessa as Santa.
Is
Well, it's in at number 3.
number 3.
Yeah, so I actually voted for this one with 31% of the vote. It's really close, by the way, guys. Number 2, Judi Dench and Robert Mugabe. That lorry interchange between Bryn and Nessa.
Which means where to she now?
Where till she now? It's number 1. Yeah. With 36% of the vote. So 31, 33 and 36%. So tight.
That is tight.
So tight.
A sentiment of the woman she is and the character she is.
Yeah.
I mean, I just found it impossible to narrow it down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolute champion and a god tier character,
Yeah.
so to speak. Like the first series, we are on the search for the ultimate Gavin and Stacey fan, aren't we?
Yes,
So,
yes.
do you wrap your tinfoil? Do you wrap your presents in tinfoil, or do you refer to your friends as Chinese Alan?
Or do you stand in your kitchen like Chuck, like a sad little man that you are, and make a jam darnie hash on your own?
For dinner.
Yeah,
That is indeed me. And today we are delighted to be joined by Mr. Patrick Spellman. Welcome to the podcast, Patrick.
How you doing?
Hello, welcome to me. Yes.
Here he is. So Patrick grabbed our attention after he indeed has been wrapping his presents into... I thought this was just sort of like a thing that I did, wrap my presents in tinfoil.
Did you do it before Smithy? That's the question.
No. It was purely inspired by Smithy, but it turns out it's quite a widespread sort of Gavin and Stacey thing to do.
But it makes sense, doesn't it? To us, the situation, as you came to us and said you wrap your Christmas presents in tinfoil, explain to us the situation where you did this and sort of what was the reception like?
Usually it's surprise, I have to admit, because I just kind of sat in my room, like hiding away from everyone, trying to secretly wrap presents, and then all you hear is the rustling of tinfoil. It's just, they know exactly what's going on in here.
So, we've changed it a little bit for the second series. I don't know if you listened to the first series, Patrick, but we used to get each guest on, they'd give a little 30-second plea about why they are the ultimate Gavin and Stacey fan, and then we'd also go into a quiz. So we're going to do a similar thing for the second series. However, we're taking things seriously. It's the second series. We're not
absolutely.
dicking around it. It's not the first series anymore. So basically, we're going to ask you to do a 30-second speech as to why you think you are the biggest Gavin and Stacey fan. So, remind our listeners, you wrap your presents in tinfoil, whatever you might do to your dedication towards the programme.
And at the start of the call, you gave away quite a good Welsh accent. So maybe it could involve that.
We will then rate your plea out of 5, myself and Callum here, and then we'll head into the quiz. The quiz will also be out of 5, and you're going to be up against me as the ultimate fan I am.
He's a joke, Patrick. He's an absolute joke.
I've listened to every episode. I know what I'm up against here.
Oh.
Here we go. And then those... Thank you very much. Those points... I think we're good, thank you. Cheers. And then those points are going to be combined, and if you beat me, we're then going to double them, and then as you're first, you will be top of the leaderboard at the end of this episode.
Yeah.
But at the end of the series, we're going to give a grand prize out to the winner. So yeah, lots to play for here. Are you ready?
I'm ready to give a little speech, of course.
Okay, right, we shall hear your 30 seconds starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
I am the biggest and possibly the best Gavin and Stacey fan because I can relate to the characters. I love omelettes just like Gwen. Whenever I find out someone is pregnant, I immediately think that Smithy's the father and shout, "Oh my Christ," just like Pam. Like Dawn, my threesome with Seth also did not go to plan. And just like Bryn, I think James Blunt has a cracking voice.
He does.
I'm also a big enough Gavin and Stacey fan to try and not compare myself to Gavin and Stacey because nobody wants to be them. And to be honest, at the end of the day,
That is sensational.
when all said
That
and
is
done,
great.
do you know what I mean?
It's still going. I'll tell you what.
That is so true, though. No one wants to be Gavin and Stacey.
No one wants to be
No,
Gavin and Stacey.
no,
and
that
I
is so
respect
true.
that opinion.
Yeah,
I
really
love
expect
it.
that.
Right. Shall we give our scores?
Yeah.
Shall we deliberate? I think we should.
Can we
go
do
for it.
decimal points?
Yeah,
Are we
let's
giving
do
that?
decimal points.
Okay.
So let's say ours at the same time.
Okay.
So out of 5.
Yeah.
In 3, 2, 1.
3.5.
Bastards.
Right, we'll round the bastards. Patrick's not happy.
He's not happy.
3.75 average. We'll round that up to
Yeah.
4. We'll make that a consistency across
Yeah.
the series.
Yeah.
We'll round that up to 4. That's a good start.
That's a really good
You're
start,
4
Patrick.
Out of 5, Patrick. Calm down. Jesus Christ.
Right. So
Blimey.
now it's time for the all-important quiz, Patrick. I'm just going to get my laptop because I have some questions prepared for all of you guys. By the way, What's Occurring podcast stickers now available.
Patrick, I will tell you that I am slightly handicapped. We've been in an Italian restaurant and like Pete is in Series 2, Episode 1, I'm a little bit intoxicated on red wine right now.
Okay, so what I want to do is I have a breadstick packet in front of me. I'm going to flip it.
Nothing
and
like
Patrick,
a makeshift coin.
Patrick, as you are the guest, you are going to choose first. I want you to say bread side or label side. This is bread side. This is label side. Okay. So I want you to call whilst it's in the air. So in 3, 2, 1, call.
Bread side.
Oh,
It's label side.
Nightmare.
It's label
Not my
side,
day.
which means Chuck,
we
you can
film
choose.
that, Patrick, so
Yeah.
there's no
You can
bullshit
choose
here.
which.
I'll go for the first set of questions.
First set of questions.
Put him under
Okay.
pressure.
All right. Question number 1. There is 10 in total, 5 each. Question number 1 to you, Chuck. Here we go. What did Pam say they left under their pillow in the hotel?
Wine gums.
Wine gums.
Yeah.
That is correct. Moving on to your first question, Patrick.
Okay.
You are aware that these are all questions from episode 1 of series 2. Okay. What is the colour of Nessa's lorry?
Is it yellow?
I'm going to give you a clue. It's 2 colours, so I only accept 2 colours.
Okay, I'm gonna say yellow and green.
It's bang on!
Oh,
It's
actually-
bang on!
I
It
was
is
gonna
bang
say
on.
green.
Yes.
Well done,
Up
Patrick.
against
What a
it.
legend.
So that is 1 out of 1.
Okay, cool. Moving on. Where did Pam say Smithy and the boys passed out after the wedding?
In the hotel lift.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is correct. We did talk about it in this episode. Okay, question number 2 for you, Patrick. What scores did Gav say Smithy was asking for while Smithy was away?
Oh. Was it Millwall?
I can give you a clue.
Oh, God.
Is that your? Is that your final answer?
I'm gonna stick with it.
Are you sticking with it? It's
Yeah.
in fact their arch rivals, West Ham.
I
Oh!
hope there's no West Ham fans listening.
Right, so that makes it 2-1 to Chuck. Okay. Chuck, your third question. What occupation did Bryn think Pete was in?
A butcher.
He thought he was a butcher. That is correct. That is correct.
I
So
never knew you were a butcher.
that is That is 3-1 to Chuck. Your third question, Patrick. What did Pam request to not have on her Italian order whilst in Capriccio's?
Olives.
It's,
Olives.
he's done it. He's done it. Big
clap
stuff.
for fire.
Mate, that is incredible answer. I thought that was the hardest one.
Because that's hard.
That is the
because
hard.
It's literally, you don't even hear her order.
Yeah.
You just said, no olives, thank you, Pepe,
Yeah.
passes the menu.
Bang on, bang
yeah.
on. Chuck, question number 4 for you. That makes it 3-2.
3-2.
3-2. How high did Smithy say the cliff was that Budgie jumped off? For those listening, these are the nichest questions we can find from each episode. That's why we choose it.
The thing is, I know what I think Gavin says, yeah, it was about 70 feet. And then
But what did Smithy say?
Shit. I'm so bad with figures. 300.
Is that your final answer?
Final answer.
It is 300 feet. Oh, 4-2 to Chuck. That is a big answer.
I'm sorry, Patrick.
Patrick. Okay.
It's about 300 feet. Someone spill some salt in it.
So I'm supposed to start with. Right, fourth question for you, Patrick. What activity did Gavin say he missed Smithy for?
Tennis.
Yes,
Yeah,
bang on.
shut up.
4-3. You're at the pace. You're with the pace. Chuck.
Because Stacey's rubbish.
Stacey, but she's rubbish. I thought if Smithy's here, we had a great game. Want to play tomorrow? Can't. Got to pick up the weather first.
Oh no!
sake.
Right, this is your final question, Chuck. If you get this, you are the victor. But don't worry, Patrick. You can still point build because if you get as many questions as you can right,
Still
it will
get
just
on the
add
board,
to
mate.
your
Still get
score.
on the board.
Yeah, and at the moment you're sitting at 4. That's a very good score. Okay, Chuck, your final question. It's a finish the quote.
Okay. Not on personal favourite.
I'm not going to say the characters it's between.
Okay.
You've got the looks, you've got the wife, and you've got.
It's Bryn. He's selling it to Smithy. He's like, you've got the look. No, wait. It's Bryn saying it to Gav. Wait, you've got the looks. You've got the wife. You've got the. Shit.
He's struggling here.
I know,
Patrick,
and I know the
he's in
answer.
trouble. Yeah, I thought you might. I thought Chuck would know.
Patrick's good. Patrick's good. You've got the looks. You've got the wife. I was going to say X Factor. But it's
Right.
not the X Factor.
10
Hang on.
seconds.
Oh, here we go. There's
Yeah,
a
we
clock on it.
always do that.
Now we're on camera.
10, 9, 8, 7,
It's either
6,
X Factor or tan. I was going to guess. But I don't
Five,
think either are right. I'm going to go
4,
tan.
3.
I'm going to go tan.
Tan, final answer?
Yeah, it's wrong.
It is wrong, yes.
Yeah.
The quote was between Pete
And Mick.
and Mick. Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
And what was the answer,
Mick
Patrick?
Shipman.
You've got the looks, you've got the wife, you've got the girth.
You've got the girl.
Yeah, it's the go.
Yes, well.
Right, so that means
So Patrick, to take it to a tiebreaker.
take it to a tiebreaker. Okay, so who? Sorry, I'll start again.
Oh,
You're
even,
fighting-
even the quiz host is getting.
Yeah, I'm getting a bit under the pressure here. It might be the red wine. Right, so whose pizza did Bryn finish, Patrick?
He finished Gwen's, I think.
Is that your final answer?
I'm gonna stick with it. No, wait. Or did Gwen have lasagna?
Go on, think about these things.
I'm thinking about a fictional Italian order.
Is it a toss-up between the gnocchi and the
I'm
risotto?
thinking about a fictional Italian.
No, it's one of the people at the dinner table, obviously.
Well, Pam definitely had pizza. I'm gonna go with Pam then. Please don't tell me it was Gwen.
You're going with Pam. You're going with Pam.
Yeah.
Patrick. That is incorrect.
It's
It was Mick.
It's
It was
Mick.
Mick's pizza.
At least I can sleep
Yeah,
at
he
night knowing
says-
I wasn't gonna get
Do
it
you
right
reckon
anyway.
Mick will mind if I take his last slice?
So what if he does? I'll back you, because that's what best mates do.
Do you guys want to know what the tiebreaker was?
What was the tiebreaker gone?
The tiebreaker was, what colour was Smithy's polo shirt? Would you have been able to answer that?
It was hooped. I think.
Yeah, it was hooped. Yeah, it was two colours.
Was it white and light blue?
Yeah, it was. Correct. Would you have got that, Patrick?
I was thinking dark blue, so no.
No, so Chuck would have still taken away the W.
So Patrick, though, 3 points from the quiz. Unfortunately not doubled. I am still the champ. But plus the 4 we gave you for the police, so therefore 7 out of a possible 10.
Yeah, that's amazing, Patrick.
Well, 15, I guess.
Yeah.
I am amazing.
Takes you straight to the top of the leaderboard, Patrick. How do
Yeah.
you feel about that?
Well, it's the first episode, so I kind of feel...
Yeah, we're not bullshit you here. You're not up against anyone.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for playing, Patrick.
Thank you, Patrick.
Before we go,
I should have been on mine.
could we have your favourite Gavin and Stacey moment of all time?
Yeah, don't think about this series. Everything.
I am a big Doris fan, and you can't beat... to be honest with you, Gav, I'm absolutely twatted.
He's a man of taste. He's a man of taste.
Patrick,
It's been a pleasure having you on.
Thanks so much for coming on, buddy. We are going to send you a little gift
Yeah.
for your services. Do send us your address and we will ping you a gift in the post. Expect the unexpected. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
Thank you, Patrick.
A bit worried,
See you later. Perfect. So that is the end of the first episode of Series 2.
If you like this video, hit subscribe below.
Plenty more content where
Follow
that
us
came.
on Twitter and Instagram at What's Occurring Pod. And yeah, we'll be back this time next week. Every Tuesday, expect a video from us. Chuck a subscribe. You'll find out when they're first there. Cheers.
Also, let your friends know Gavin and Stacey fans. Cheers, Chuck.
Oh, the episode's over. Page a hack for a periera, or in other words, sling your rocker or bake your face.